I imagine many of you have seen Fallout, the new Amazon Prime Video series inspired by the video game of the same name. And I bet some of you have wondered if what's shown is scientifically accurate regarding the effects of a nuclear war on our planet. In this video, curated as always for you by the Insane Curiosity channel, we'll introduce Fallout to those who've never heard of it and highlight any scientific inconsistencies in the plot. Let's go. The story of Fallout begins with a catastrophic event in 2077, a nuclear war between the United States and China that destroyed much of the world. Beyond these imagined future events, the narrative also depicts a past very different from reality, with an America that, after World War II, seems to have stayed stuck in the 50s, with a retro vibe that also influenced the country's technological evolution. We're mainly talking about America because all the games are set in this part of the world, and there's not much clear information about the rest of the globe. The series is set near Los Angeles, 219 years after the end of the war, and as in every game of the saga, the story starts in a vault, one of the massive underground bunkers used to protect people from radiation. In the games, we discover that there are many different vaults, and not all of them are simply places to preserve human life. The Vault-Tec Corporation, the creator of these underground technological structures, isn't exactly an ethical company, and some of these vaults are also sites of rather unsavory experiments. The series' protagonist is Lucy, a resident of Vault 33. After generations of humans born and raised in their vault without ever leaving it, Lucy will be the first to venture into the mysterious outside world. While thousands of people live their lives confined in underground vaults, on the surface saturated with radiation, the world has continued to change, evolving in unexpected ways. In post-apocalyptic America, various factions have formed with a kind of every man for himself mentality, played out by grotesque and often insane characters. Understanding the motivations, dynamics, and goals of these groups is crucial to navigating this chaotic and dangerous world. The most formidable and influential faction is undoubtedly the Enclave, a political military organization that emerged from the ashes of the old American government. Considering themselves the last bastion of pure humanity, the Enclave's primary goal is to eliminate all mutants in the wasteland and then reclaim and recolonize America. Its structure is presidential, complete with a Congress, and it's also the most technologically advanced faction. Opposing the Enclave is the New California Republic, a larger and more populous post-war society, around 700,000 residents, that bases its operations on respect for law and fundamental freedoms. Though it is the dominant power in the wasteland, the New California Republic cannot match the Enclave in terms of military strength and threat. Another significant faction is Caesar's Legion, an autocratic post-war society inspired by the Roman Empire, with its capital and flagstaff. Equally important is the Brotherhood of Steel, a techno-religious organization rooted in the old American military. The Brotherhood's members, both soldiers and scientists, have an almost religious devotion to technology and boast an impressive arsenal of weapons. Originally founded with altruistic intentions, the Brotherhood has, however, ended up exploiting its power for less notable purposes. It remains a crucial bulwark against threats like the super mutants and the Enclave's sinister plans. Beyond the factions, the world of Fallout is also populated by highly disturbing creatures and characters. Among them, ghouls hold a special place, decayed beings mutated by radiation exposure, also known as post-human necrotics. While most ghouls have lost their sense of humanity, some retain their intellect and even show empathy. During the devastating war that erupted in 2077, not all humans managed to find refuge in a vault. Many who remained on the surface died from radiation caused by the numerous atomic bombs dropped, but some survived by adapting to the new hostile environment. Ghouls are humans who, instead of dying from the theoretically lethal levels of radiation they absorbed, mutate to become immune and gain significantly longer lifespans than regular humans. However, their bodies suffered horrific changes, such as skin necrosis or gangrene in some parts, giving them a ghastly appearance often likened to zombies. Yet this new race retains human consciousness and a thinking mind, though some were indeed so disfigured by radiation that they became true mindless zombies. Besides ghouls, the post-apocalyptic world of Fallout teems with dangerous mutant creatures, the result of genetic experiments conducted before the war, posing constant threats to survivors in the wasteland, adding more tension and danger to the action. From the Brahmin, the two-headed cattle bred to sustain the remaining humans, to much more dangerous animals like the Yao Gai, a mutated bear seen in the series trailer. Many animals have become extremely dangerous after mutating, from giant cockroaches and other insects to death claws, huge reptiles created as a biological weapon experiment for war. But after the bombs fell, they escaped human control and became the apex predators. One last fun note, during this time, the most popular drink in the United States is Nuka-Cola, created in 2044. This beverage is made with the essence of 17 fruits, industrial quantities of caffeine, and tons of sugar, making it one of the main sources of sustenance for humans after the nuclear apocalypse. The key feature of Nuka-Cola, which made it crucial even after the war, is that it never expires. There's still many stockpiles of this drink across America, making it easy to find. Its only small side effect is that drinking it can cause a certain dependency. And the primary currency in the world of Fallout isn't dollars or precious stones, but Nuka-Cola bottle caps. Hang on a sec, guys, before we continue. Be sure to join the Insane Curiosity channel. Click on the bell, you'll help us to make products of even higher quality. Alright guys, that's all we have to say about the TV series, where everything is imagination and pure entertainment. But at this point, we can't help but wonder, in reality, how would things really go for potential survivors of a nuclear war? In the opening moments of Fallout, Los Angeles is hit by a series of nuclear bombs, and the effect is striking and very spectacular, if you can say that about such a tragic event. But from a scientific point of view, are we accurate, or did the creators take too many liberties? Well, answering that isn't simple. Survival chances depend not only on the distance from the explosion, but also on the type of bomb detonated and the ability to find shelter. All nuclear explosions have some common effects: a flash of light, a fireball, a burst of nuclear radiation, a shock wave, a heat wave, and radioactive fallout. The heat wave can last several seconds and cause severe burns miles away from the explosion site. The distance it can affect is roughly determined by the bomb's power. And what bombs were in use at the time of the war's outbreak? Well, we can only answer for the present and the real situation. The arsenals of major world powers currently contain bombs of varying yields. The Hiroshima bomb, called Little Boy, with 15 kilotons, is one of the smallest in circulation. Despite this, its explosion occurring at 1,600 feet above the ground killed 80,000 people instantly. It's estimated that a similar bomb has a kill radius extending up to 2.8 miles. Within 550 feet of the blast, everything would be vaporized by the fireball, while the shock wave would destroy all buildings within 1,000 feet. Without a fallout shelter, it would be practically impossible to survive if you were within 1.5 miles of the explosion point, mainly due to the thermal wave. Additionally, up to 0.8 miles on zero, the radiation dose could be around 5,000 millisieverts. The sievert measures the biological damage caused by radiation on an organism. Absorbing this amount of radiation in a short time, for comparison, the annual dose from natural background radiation is 2,000 times lower, would mean death within a month. The people who had the misfortune of being within a few hundred meters of the explosions in Hiroshima and Nagasaki were literally vaporized, leaving imprints of their bodies where they were hit by a fireball of millions of degrees, reduced to a cloud of atoms that then embedded into the walls. Then there's the W-76 nuclear bomb, built within 1978 and 1987, with a yield of 100 kilotons. It's still deployed on the U.S. Navy's Ohio-class submarines and the Royal Navy's Vanguard-class submarines. Its destructive effects are felt up to about 6 miles from the explosion point, with the fireball reaching up to 1,100 feet and lethal radiation extending over 2,700 feet. The largest nuclear bomb ever built is in the Russian arsenal, the Tsar bomb, also called Big Ivan. It's a 100 megaton warhead, 3,000 times more powerful than Little Boy, and its effects can be felt up to 50 miles away. enough to completely destroy a city twice the size of Los Angeles. The detonation of a Tsar bomb would instantly vaporize everything within a 3.5-mile radius and make a region of hundreds of square miles uninhabitable for decades. And then, no matter the bomb's power or type, comes the third phase, fallout. This lasts much longer and has a much wider impact than the explosion and shockwave. A single nuclear detonation carries a mushroom cloud that can reach up to 10 miles in height. Carried by the wind, the cloud spreads radioactivity far beyond the explosion area, with radioactive elements that have half-lives of thousands of years, causing genetic mutations like cancer and leukemia in the population. But could a single bomb, or 2 or 10, no matter how powerful, reduce humanity to the state shown in Fallout? Certainly not, and the creators of the video game and the TV series have rightly taken this into account, because to justify the near-total annihilation of the human population and such severe environmental and genetic changes among survivors, the war had to have been fought, as explicitly stated, with the launch of 67,000 nuclear bombs, each 750 kilotons. Only in this way could we explain the global destruction and such an intense radioactive fallout capable of creating mutants and monsters in just over 2 centuries. We explain it like this, so to speak, of course, because this is one of the least scientific aspects proposed by the series. From what we know, the modification of human or animal tissues due to continuous radioactive fallout could never result in creatures that are significantly larger or more monstrous. Moreover, evolutionary theory assures us that genetic anomalies developed under the influence of radiation, which does not provide functional improvements to organisms, would be wiped out within a few generations, while only mutations useful for species improvement would tend to persist. Recently, it was discovered that wolves living in the Chernobyl region, exposed daily to significant doses of radiation, around 0.11 millisieverts per day for their entire lives, a value 6 times higher than what is considered safe for humans, have developed an altered immune system that makes them immune to cancer. In short, in the 2 centuries since the end of the war, it is much more likely that radioactive fallout and the subsequent nuclear winter would wipe out 95% of the population rather than forge new creatures with fantastical powers. To achieve this would indeed take hundreds of thousands of years. This also makes the existence of a stable population of ghouls deformed by radiation unlikely. Radiation either kills quickly or slowly, but the damage to the organism cannot be passed on to future generations. Another inconsistency is the technology widely used throughout the series. To create the idea of a world perpetually immersed in a retro atmosphere, the Fallout world, even before the war, was a backward world where semiconductors hadn't been invented yet. And in the series, you only see ancient computers with tape memory, with which it would be impossible to design even that bit of magical technology that appears here and there. Okay, it's all about fun. There's no point in looking for explanations that can't exist. It's called suspension of disbelief, and it's what the creators of the series ask of us, to let ourselves go to dream and imagination.